A sudden explosion shook the lab, trapping me and Liam, Khloe's first love, in the flames.
Khloe, my girlfriend, heartlessly chose to save Liam first, leaving me behind. I didn't stop her. Didn't beg her.
I let her leave me to burn because in my past life, after revealing I was the dean's son, I'd used her career to manipulate her into saving me. Liam died in that fire and later Khloe used my guilt to drain my family's assets before locking me in a lab and burning me alive.
While I begged for mercy, she sneered at me saying, "Ryan, if you hadn't threatened me with your family's influence back then, would Liam have died so horribly?
I'll make you suffer 100 times what Liam endured in that fire."
When I opened my eyes again, I was back. Back to the day I was trapped in that fire with Liam.
I heard a loud crash and felt a cabinet slam down on me, jolting me awake. Ignoring the pain, I tried to see through the thick smoke choking me, making me cough violently. A dull ache throbbed in my right leg, and instinctively I tried to shield it with my arms.
"No!"
I cried out, but my arms, which should have been charred to the bone, were unharmed.
"How?"
Before I could process it, frantic shouts reached my ears.
"Liam! Liam, are you okay?"
That voice so familiar. Then I heard Liam's weak voice nearby.
"Khloe, help me." I looked up in disbelief. Khloe was kneeling beside Liam, trying desperately to move the table, pinning him down.
Seeing them together, I could barely breathe.
Wait, hadn't Khloe just locked me in the lab and burned me alive?
The thought made me curl up, trembling uncontrollably.
At the entrance, my colleague Ethan shouted, "Khloe, are you crazy? Save Ryan first. He's your boyfriend." The scene was so real and it hit me. I wasn't dreaming. I was reborn. Reborn to the day I was trapped in the fire with Liam.
With a creak, Khloe finally moved the table. Without even glancing at me, she helped Liam up and rushed towards the exit.
I bitterly laughed. Wasn't it just like last time?
I was her boyfriend, but she only had eyes for Liam.
Of course, Liam was handsome, a godlike figure at the university hospital.
He was even rumored to be the young master of Sterling Medical. Even if Khloe wasn't single, she'd probably fallen for him long ago. I struggled to stand, but the cabinet pinned me down. My lower leg was bleeding profusely from glass shards.
I couldn't move. Khloe only seemed to notice me.
Then there was no worry in her eyes, only annoyance.
She frowned. "Liam is Sterling Medical's only son. If anything happens to him, the whole hospital could go under. I'm doing this for the greater good. Your injuries aren't severe. I'll come back for you after I get Liam out." I laughed again.
If I hadn't lived through this once, maybe I would have believed her nonsense. "Greater good," she said, covered in blood.
Yet my injuries weren't severe. Ethan didn't hesitate.
He rushed into the fire, but his colleagues grabbed him tightly.
"Ethan, calm down.
The lab's full of flammable and explosive materials.
It's too dangerous." He was right. In my memory, this lab would explode in about 15 minutes.
Last time, after I was rescued, I immediately urged everyone to leave to save their lives.
Khloe had intended to go back for Liam, but seeing the escalating fire, she ultimately didn't re-enter. So, how could I believe her promise to come back for me now? I knew she wouldn't.
But I didn't want to endanger the ones who genuinely cared. I pushed myself up, shouting with all my might, "Ethan, don't come in.
It's going to explode soon. Run." Hearing me shout, "Explode," Khloe paused.
She turned back with disbelief in her eyes, her gaze cold as if looking at a stranger.
"Ryan, I never realized you were so manipulative. The fire department will be here in half an hour to control it.
What will our colleagues think of me if you say things like that?
Can't you learn from Liam and be a little kinder?"
Her sanctimonious act made me laugh contemptuously.
"When you were sleeping with me, you didn't call me manipulative, did you?"
Liam tugged at Khloe's collar weakly, his voice barely audible.
"Khloe, I feel sick."
Khloe instantly shifted her gaze from me to Liam.
"Hang in there, Liam.
I won't let anything happen to you," she said, then supported him and left without looking back. I strained with all my might, pushing the heavy cabinet off me. Excruciating pain shot through me. But compared to what I endured last time, this was nothing. Seeing Khloe leave with Liam, Ethan slumped to the ground in disbelief.
"Khloe, you're really sick. The dean won't let you get away with this."
Ethan was the only one at the hospital who knew my true identity, but his words only drew scorn from Khloe.
She laughed dismissively. "The dean won't let me get away with it."
"Ridiculous.
Liam is the only son of Sterling Medical.
He's the one the dean can't afford to lose. I struggled out from the gap between the cabinet and the floor, tearing my legs wound even wider. Blood soaked my clothes, but I couldn't care. I had to live.
Time was running out.
I yelled at Ethan, "Don't beg her.
Just run."
I could never forget the crazed look in Khloe's eyes from last time as she poured gasoline on me. No love left, only overwhelming hatred. She ignored my pleas, ignored our years together, and set me ablaze. I realized then she blamed me entirely for Liam's death. She hated me so much. Before I could shake off the agonizing memory, Ethan charged back into the fire despite the danger.
"Ryan, hold on." Smoke choked me, blurring my vision. Only Ethan's figure was clear against the flames. "You crazy fool. Get out."
I shouted angrily, but he ignored me. Gritting his teeth, he hauled half my weight, dragging me step by step toward the exit. The searing heat baked our skin. I saw a lock of his hair catch fire, sparks flying from the ends, but he seemed oblivious to the pain. He just kept pulling me forward. Looking at his soot-blackened profile, complex emotions churned within me.
I glanced at my watch. Not much time left.
If we didn't get out, we'd both die here. Taking a deep breath, I forced myself to stay alert and yelled,
"Listen. When I count to 3, we dive out. Dive. Don't worry about me. Understand?" Ethan answered without turning. "Yell all you want. I'm not letting go." A warmth spread through me. No more wasted words. I fixed my gaze on the lab doorway. Our only hope for survival. 3, 2, 1. Jump.
I screamed with every ounce of strength I had, pulling Ethan with me as we lunged for the door.
Boom. Almost simultaneously, as we cleared the entrance, a deafening explosion erupted behind us. The shock wave threw me to the ground, my eardrums feeling like they burst. My vision went white. The world around me was a blur. I couldn't see anything, couldn't hear anything except the relentless ringing in my ears. And then through the haze, I heard Ethan's voice, distant and trembling. "Ryan, Ryan, how are you? Can you hear me?" It felt like I was trapped in some kind of eternal silence. With all the strength I could muster, I forced my eyes open. "I'm okay. Just my leg," I managed to whisper. Ethan looked down at my leg, his expression shifting to one of disbelief. "It looks bad," he said, his voice thick with worry. I tried to wave him off. "Don't look. Just wait here." He scrambled away, but soon he returned with several colleagues, a stretcher in tow. Their faces fell when they saw the extent of my injuries. One male colleague gasped, "My God, how many stitches will that need?" The pain was unbearable. My entire body felt like it was falling apart. But somehow I stayed conscious. As they rushed me past the emergency room, I caught a glimpse of Khloe. She was standing there holding Liam's shoulders, comforting him as though nothing had happened, as though she had completely forgotten me. A head nurse, who usually greeted me with a friendly smile, examined my injuries. She shook her head sadly. "Ryan, what terrible luck. So many fractures. It could take a year to recover." Her voice faltered. "Luckily, your right hand wasn't injured. After recovery, you'll still be able to perform surgery." I managed a weak smile, wanting to say something, but the pain kept me silent. The nurse lowered her voice, leaning in to whisper conspiratorially. "I hear Liam's injuries are minor. Look at how worried Dr. Khloe is." Ethan exploded at her words. "Khloe, you're disgusting." Before he could finish, Liam weakly coughed. His voice was barely audible, but the concern in it was obvious. "Khloe, I'm a little tired." Khloe immediately shifted her attention to him, her tone full of tenderness. "Liam, just hold on a bit longer. Colleagues will be here soon." Then she looked up at me and snapped. "Isn't Ryan fine now? He's my boyfriend, Ethan. This doesn't concern you. Can you stop meddling?" I stared at her, the disgust rising in my chest. With a firm voice, I said the words I had been holding in. "From now on, we have no relationship. We're breaking up." Ethan nodded emphatically. "Good riddance. There's no point in reasoning with an animal like that." Khloe froze, clearly taken aback by my words. She frowned, then snapped. "Brian, what are you trying to pull now? Playing games with me?" I sneered, the words barely escaping me. "Play games with you? Are you worthy?" I looked past her at Liam, the tears threatening to spill. "You'd rather save another man than me?" Is that what you call a boyfriend? Liam's face crumpled and tears welled in his eyes. Ryan, how can you say that about Khloe? She knew you were stronger than me. She had more faith in you. She just chose to save the person who needed her more. The room seemed to collapse into chaos. Khloe's accusations. Liam's sobs. People began murmuring all around us. Well, the heartthrob has a point, someone said. He was so frail. Obviously needed help first. Yeah, Dr. Khloe was just thinking of everyone. Why is Dr. Ryan being so difficult? Exactly. Liam is the sole heir of Sterling Medical. Saving him was definitely more important. Just then, my father, who had been overseas, rushed into the room. Khloe, sensing an opportunity to shift blame, immediately changed her tune. She hurried over to him, saying, "Dean, the lab." It exploded. I risked my life to save Liam. He says he can strengthen the partnership between Sterling Medical and our hospital. My father's face darkened. Where's Ryan? Khloe, thinking she had dodged a bullet, hurriedly explained, "Dean, only Ryan and I were in the lab. Liam didn't make any mistakes. Ryan must take full responsibility for this. He's fine. His injuries aren't serious, but I suggest he shouldn't participate in experiments anymore. Liam can handle it alone." My father's expression grew more severe. Lying on the stretcher, I sneered inwardly. Just wait, Khloe. Without me, you'll have plenty of suffering ahead. Before I could even see my father's face clearly, I passed out. When I woke up again, it was the evening of the next day. My body was immobilized. Plaster and bandages encasing my limbs. But I felt something else, too. Something I hadn't felt in a long time. Rebirth. Ethan, looking exhausted but relieved, was by my side. His voice cracked as he spoke. "You idiot! Do you have any idea how badly you hurt yourself?" I gave him a weak smile. At least I got my life back. This time I don't owe Khloe anything. Neither my father nor I will die. Ethan took a deep breath. "Ryan, I told your father everything that happened. He's furious. He's calling an accident review meeting tomorrow." Hearing about my father brought tears to my eyes. Last time it was because of me that he had suffered, Ethan. I tried to compose myself. "There's one more thing I need you to do." "What is it?" Ethan asked. "The surveillance footage from the lab before the accident. Can you get it for me?" Ethan nodded, sounding more relaxed now. "Don't worry, I already pulled it. There was a small hiccup, but I handled it." I looked at him, overwhelmed with guilt. Last time, I had thought Ethan was jealous, targeting me. I'd cut him off, ended our friendship, and never apologized. Now, I realized how wrong I had been, how blind I was, mistaking trash for treasure. Just as I was about to rest, the door opened. Khloe walked in, followed by Liam, looking perfectly fine. His clothes neat, his hair not a strand out of place. He adjusted his collar with an air of nonchalance, and all I could do was watch as he caught sight of me, trapped in plaster and unable to move. Ethan scoffed. "The heartthrob looks completely unscathed, doesn't he?" Khloe ignored him and walked over to me, trying to take my hand. I recoiled in disgust. She didn't even seem to think she was in the wrong. She smiled and said, "Ryan, see, you're fine, aren't you? Liam says he'll strengthen the cooperation between Sterling Medical and our hospital. My promotion is looking good. Aren't you happy for me?" I couldn't help but laugh coldly. "Happy? I nearly died in that lab, and you want me to be happy for you?" Liam sighed dramatically, his eyes darkening. "I didn't expect you to be so selfish, willing to ruin Khloe's future over some baseless jealousy. Honestly, I really looked down on you." I glared at him coldly. "Do you know what a ruined future looks like? Let me tell you. From the moment Khloe abandoned me, her future was over." Khloe, now furious, pointed a finger at me, her face twisted with anger. "Ryan, Liam kindly came to see you. He even wanted to apologize. And this is your attitude. Don't forget I'm your girlfriend. Instead of being grateful, you're cursing me. How much money can you make with your dead-end job? Everything I do is for our future." I couldn't suppress the disgust I felt. "Khloe, don't forget we already broke up. Get out." The argument in the room grew louder, drawing the attention of everyone outside. Someone whispered, "Dr. Ryan is fine now. Just let it go. What's more important than his girlfriend's career?" "If it were me, I'd endure a little hardship," Ethan said, his voice steady.
After all, if Dr. Khloe becomes successful, you'll benefit, too. Ethan turned around quickly, his eyes scanning the crowd.
Stop gossiping. That's not what happened. The dean is holding a review meeting tomorrow.
When the truth comes out, we'll see who's embarrassed. Khloe, who usually ignored Ethan, finally looked at him, her brow furrowing.
What did you say? What review?
Ethan crossed his arms and pointedly stared at Liam.
Yes, about the lab accident. Some people know exactly what happened.
Liam visibly trembled, his face drained of color as though he might collapse at any moment. Khloe quickly moved to support him, her tone soothing.
Liam, don't be afraid. It's okay. I believe you.
Liam leaned into her, his eyes filled with deep affection.
Khloe, I trust you. You won't believe their nonsense, right? That day in the lab, I clearly warned Ryan.
He paused as if recalling something deeply unsettling. I warned him to be careful, but he wouldn't listen.
He said I was meddling.
And then the explosion happened.
I really tried my best. I really wanted to save him.
The crowd outside grew quiet for a moment, processing Liam's words. Then murmurs of condemnation began to spread again. So, it was Dr. Ryan's operational error that caused the explosion.
No wonder Dr. Khloe didn't save him. After all, Liam was innocent.
Seeing Liam so fragile only made Khloe more protective. Her anger flared, and she turned to point at me, her voice sharp.
Ryan, you refuse to admit your mistake and still think you're right.
If you apologize to Liam now, I'll put in a good word for you at tomorrow's meeting.
Maybe you'll get off easy. Ethan and I exchanged a brief look before I cut in.
My voice calm but firm. If you two kneel and apologize to me right now, maybe I'll show you some mercy at the meeting.
Liam gave a faint, ambiguous smile. Ryan, I'm doing this for your own good. Why won't you accept it?
I had no patience for this anymore, so I pressed the nurse call button. The head nurse pushed through the crowd looking at me.
What's wrong?
I pointed at Khloe and Liam.
I recall Dr. Khloe and Dr. Liam aren't assigned to this department, are they? Why are they neglecting their duties? The head nurse, already disliking Khloe, responded coldly, Dr. Khloe, please don't disturb Dr. Ryan. He just underwent surgery all night.
Seeing I wasn't intimidated, Khloe pointed at me, sputtering, before finally grabbing Liam's hand and leaving angrily. Ethan watched me for a long time before speaking.
I think you've changed.
I twisted my lips into a smile, one that wasn't bitter nor self-mocking.
Dying once really opens your eyes. Makes you see whether someone like Khloe is human or just a dog. A rather costly epiphany. After dealing with urgent matters, my father came to my room. His eyes were bloodshot, stubble on his chin, and his face showed the strain of worry and fatigue.
Ryan, how did this happen?
I was only abroad for a short while. How did this?
His voice trailed off as he choked up, his trembling hand gently touching the gauze on my face, his heartache evident. Looking at my father, who seemed to have aged years in such a short time, I couldn't hold back my tears.
The last time, because I trusted Khloe, the hospital my family had built over decades ended up in the hands of others. Everything was gone. My father couldn't handle the blow, fell ill and passed away soon after.
And Khloe, stepping over, the ruins of my family rose to become a new star in the medical field.
Thank God this time he was still alive. I grasped his hand, sobbing. Ethan probably told you everything about the lab explosion.
But that lab, you gave it to me, Dad.
How could I not cherish it? It wasn't my fault.
My father's voice was low and filled with suppressed anger.
Ryan, don't worry. Whether he's really the sole heir of Sterling Medical or not, I'm not afraid. I won't let you take the blame for nothing.
The next morning, Ethan pushed me in a wheelchair to the meeting.
It felt more like a trial than a review.
Khloe and Liam sat across from me, each looking more aggrieved than the other, as if I were the villain. The conference room was filled with hospital executives, and my father sat at the head of the table, his face grim. When he saw me enter, a flicker of pain crossed his eyes, but it was quickly replaced by sternness.
Dr. Liam, my father said, staring intently at him.
Only you and Dr. Ryan were in the lab at the time. You claim it was Dr. Ryan's operational error.
Liam trembled, looking frightened. Dean, it's absolutely true. I did warn Dr. Ryan. I warned him.
My father slammed his hand on the table, startling Liam so much he nearly fell off his chair.
Do you know the consequences of lying? Khloe immediately stood up to defend her heartthrob. Dean, why are you so certain Dr. Liam is lying?
My father shot her a cold glance.
It's not your turn to speak here. Khloe fell silent, sitting back down awkwardly. Though she was somewhat known in the hospital, she wouldn't dare defy my father. Liam's eyes were wide, looking pitiful. Dan, how could I joke with the Sterling name? The room erupted into murmurs. The previously drowsy executives suddenly perked up, whispering among themselves. He really is the Sterling heir. Sterling Medical is our biggest partner. If we offend him, one of the executives spoke up cautiously. Yeah, nobody died. Just give Dr. Ryan a reprimand and let it go. My father's face turned pale with anger as he pointed at the whispering executives. Are you saying that because Dr. Liam is the son of some partner company? Dr. Ryan should bear all the responsibility. I looked at the group, feeling a chill as they readied to throw me under the bus for their own benefit. The executives exchanged uneasy glances, avoiding eye contact. My father's face darkened. With a sharp wave of his hand, Ethan immediately understood and turned on the large screen in the conference room. A high-definition image filled the screen. Surveillance footage from the lab just before the incident. Liam's face instantly turned deathly white. His lips trembled and he shook his head repeatedly. Impossible. This is impossible. Isn't installing surveillance in labs strictly forbidden? My father glanced at him coldly. This lab was a personal gift to my son. Do I need your permission to install it? The room was tense and Khloe's expression turned to one of complete shock as she turned to me. I remained expressionless, my voice cold as I stated, Ethan told you. The air seemed to freeze for a moment, the silence thick and uncomfortable. Then someone nervously stammered. Dean, are you saying Ryan? Ryan is your son. Ethan ignored the questions, continuing to operate the mouse and playing the footage on the screen. The video showed me in my lab coat and mask, calmly conducting the experiment. Everything appeared normal until suddenly the container in front of me spontaneously ignited. Flames shot up, thick smoke billowing into the air. Khloe immediately pointed at the screen. See right there? Ryan, you must have made a mistake. Don't worry, I'll take the punishment for you. Liam visibly relaxed, his eyes welling up, looking helpless. I really didn't want to embarrass Ryan like this. It's all my fault. If only I'd warned him sooner. My father slammed his hand on the table, making Liam flinch. But the spineless executives, already intimidated by Liam's actions and the Sterling name, bowed their heads. Dean, one of them said, since it's like this, maybe we should let it go. One is the Sterling medical heir and the other is your son. Making a big deal won't benefit anyone. For a moment, I doubted myself. But that doubt vanished quickly. After all, I'd done this experiment hundreds of times. I could do it blindfolded. Plus, my project didn't even involve flammable materials. Even if I had made a mistake, it couldn't have caused spontaneous combustion. Ethan gave me a reassuring look. A small smile tugging at his lips. He continued, executives, you only saw Ryan's container ignite, but did you see what he was actually doing? True. The instruments blocked the view of my hands. The footage only showed my upper body. But Ethan zoomed in on the glass cabinet behind my workstation. The enlarged image clearly showed Liam sneaking up to my station. And while I wasn't looking, furtively pouring an unknown reagent into my container. The entire action took only seconds. My fist clenched in fury. Liam. My father pointed at Liam. What else do you have to say? Liam suddenly turned pale, collapsing to the floor. This must be a misunderstanding. No, it's Ethan. You maliciously edited this video, didn't you? Just then, my father spoke briefly into his phone, and the conference room doors were thrown open. My father's assistant entered, looking grim, followed by a stern, elegantly dressed woman. The woman's sharp eyes swept the room, finally settling on Liam. Mr. Liam, the heir to our Sterling Medical MMS. Sterling? The executives shot too, their feet trembling, looking towards my father. Dean, maybe we should handle this privately. Our hospital can't afford to lose Sterling medical support. One of them stammered. My father sneered, lighting a cigarette and blowing out. A smoke ring slowly. Miss Sterling, take a good look. Is this really your son? Hearing the name Miss Sterling, Liam's face went even paler. He kept his head down, trembling slightly, unable to meet the woman's gaze. The woman glanced at him contemptuously, scoffing. My son is currently pursuing his graduate studies abroad. I came today to see which audacious impostor dares to impersonate my son. With that, she grabbed Liam's chin, forcing his head up.
Handsome enough, I suppose, but such a venomous heart. The executives, who had been worried moments before about offending Liam, instantly turned on him.
Are you kidding me? He's a fake. How dare you deceive our hospital? Outrageous. People like him should be jailed.
He nearly got the dean's son framed. Khloe, who had initially been ready to speak up, shrank back under Liam's glare. She finally managed a tearful Liam, how could you do this to Ryan?
Honestly, I was disgusted. The woman's hypocrisy knew no bounds. Liam reacted as if hearing the biggest joke in the world. Bursting into laughter, he said, Khloe, what right do you have to judge me? Didn't you enjoy my lies, too?
He shook off Miss Sterling's hand, pointing at Khloe.
Ever since you thought I was the Sterling medical heir, you've been following me around like a pathetic dog, wagging your tail. Am I wrong? The laughter that followed echoed in the room, and for a moment, I almost felt bad for Khloe. Almost. But the truth was out now. She was a hypocrite. Liam's case went to court quickly.
He was eventually sentenced to a year in prison and had his medical license revoked, but he was released early for good behavior.
Khloe, meanwhile, was fired by my father. No other hospital dared to hire her.
Once a rising star in the medical field, she became a pariah. A year later, after my body had mostly recovered, I returned to work at the hospital with my father's permission.
To my surprise, I saw Khloe again. She was sneaking into the hospital, wearing a baseball cap and a mask.
Ethan wrinkled his nose in disgust.
Does she really think dressing like that makes her unrecognizable? I paused.
Ethan leaned in, grinning mischievously.
Didn't you know she caught that disease?
Our hospital is top-notch in treating it, so she has to come here.
Serves her right. I couldn't help but sneer. That disease certainly suits her.
That evening, as I left work, I was suddenly confronted by Khloe in the parking lot.
I jumped back instinctively.
She quickly tried to steady me, but I flinched away from her. She rubbed her head, smiling awkwardly.
I heard from the nurses that you were back today. So, Ryan, do you know how long I've been looking for you? We never broke up. How could you leave me? I took a deep breath, my face impassive. I told you we broke up a year ago. Stop looking for me.
Khloe suddenly grabbed my wrist, pressing down on an old injury, making me gasp in pain.
Let go. I growled.
She squeezed harder, her teeth gritted.
Ryan, if it weren't for your father, how would I have ended up like this? Shouldn't you be responsible for me? I scoffed. You're hilarious. You caught a filthy disease and you're telling me I'm responsible? Have some shame. Her face turned an ugly shade of purple, humiliated and enraged.
She raised her hand to slap me, but just then a hand slammed hard across her face.
Khloe. I spun around. It was Liam.
He had just been released from prison and he looked nothing like the polished man he once was. His face was contorted with rage. Liam pointed at her, screaming, I looked for you the moment I got out.
Turns out you used me like a free gigolo and tossed me aside.
And you dare sneak around looking for Ryan behind my back.
Khloe, stunned by the slap, took a few seconds to react. Then she shoved Liam away. Get lost. Take a look at yourself in a puddle. You think you can compare to Ryan? Ryan is the dean's son. What are you? I sneered loudly. Khloe, that nasty disease of yours can't wait. Remember to come for your checkups every day. Don't spread it to others. Liam's eyes widened in disbelief. Khloe, you have a venereal disease. Khloe, you infected me.
With that, the two started brawling right there in the parking lot.
I had no interest in watching them.
I got in my car, slammed the door shut with a bang, and locked it. But those two, like rabid dogs, fought even more fiercely. I rolled my eyes and messaged the security captain in our workgroup chat. Two lunatics fighting in the parking lot, need assistance ASAP. The message barely sent when I heard a loud thud. I looked up sharply. Liam was lying in a pool of blood, a car standing nearby. The driver, terrified, was clutching his head, yelling, "Oh my God!" Khloe bolted, but the security guards rushed over and caught her immediately.
Hospital colleagues swarmed the scene.
Liam was pronounced dead at the scene, and the parking lot surveillance clearly captured Khloe, pushing him into the path of the car.
She was ultimately convicted of intentional homicide.
As a doctor, I knew her disease was incurable. Let her rot away slowly in prison for the rest of her life.